Okay, this is James Glass with James Glass Company, and this is a video on an incredibly illegal junction, which was also dangerous. What we have, this is my personal house. It's being renovated. It's being completely gutted. As you can see, I'm going to rewire, replumb it, insulate it, and so obviously all the lath and plaster has to go. And as we were doing the demo in this room, Dan's helping me today, we noticed that, interestingly enough, there was like a wall that they had moved at one time, and then I found this wall over here, which is a little bit newer, but still old enough to have knob and tube wiring. And it's called knob and tube because this is the knob, and the tube, I don't know if I have an example. Oh, here's an example of a tube. The tube is an insulator in the stud. So, you can see if I can get that in here and get some light on that. There you go, that's better. So, there's the tube, and it's a hollow tube, and they would drill these, and these are made out of ceramic. It's an insulated material, and the wire then would pass through it, and then the wires were clamped on these knobs and then nailed in place. And you can see there's a little cutout there, that little notched cutout which would clamp the wire in place. And that was the means of insulating it back when houses were first wired. So, and you would see typically knob and tube, this has obviously been cut out, but this was a switch box here, and you would see, it's not like today where you've got like secure clamps holding a box, and it was really crazy. But this is just illegal. So, what somebody did at some point, they obviously had this wall apart. They put this thin wafer board on here and some wallpaper, garbage. And so they had some knob and tube wiring. So they decided to make a junction illegally in the wall with some Romex. And this looks like probably 70s. That was probably in the 70s. So I hope I can get down in here with the light. They left the original knob and tube box. The original knob, can you see that right down in there? Knob, yep, knob and tube box, and then they ran their junction wire in it, and then they just simply, this is plaster, they just gooed it over and then wallpapered over the whole wall. So behind this is a live junction, buried. So if you know, we're lucky we didn't just beat this with a hammer and shove a hammer into it, because this is hot. This is a voltage detector, and turn it on. This is hot. See that? It's a hot wire, live wire. And this one over here is the return circuit. That's the so-called neutral. That's the ungrounded. This is the ungrounded conductor. This is the grounded conductor. So we got this illegal junction from the old knob and tube in the old knob and tube box into the wire down below, and then just plastered over. So, I see this crap all the time. And this house was so-called rewired, right? This had a new 100 amp Cutler Hamler modern, so-called modern. It was put in the mid-90s probably wiring. And so obviously whoever did it completely either didn't do it with a permit, or the inspector didn't catch the fact that, when they rewired this, they totally had this knob and tube from the 20s, this wire from the 70s, whatever. So in the 90s, when they went to so-called rewire this house, and one of the things that I bought this house, it was a for sale by owner, one of the things that the owner who had paid for this so-called total rewire of his house, he wanted to run the value up. I, of course, told him that I disagreed with his assessment that the house was properly rewired. He said, hey, I've had the house rewired, oh, it's great. Well, not really. I mean, what he had was a new service entrance put in, and it was tied to all the crap work that happened with every renovation, along with the original substandard knob and tube wiring. So here's just one of many examples of really, 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 really dangerous, horrible work.